to Final Concept. Click the subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you don't miss out on any of our future videos.
What's up guys, this is Theo from Final Concept, and today we are going to be creating this. In Adobe Photoshop. So let's just launch our application. For this tutorial, I'll be using Photoshop CC 2017. So for the first thing we're going to do is click on New. Then we are going to set our dimensions to make sure this is checked at pixels. The width is 1280 and the height is 720. But this will all depend on what you're using. The background, you can leave it as white. You can change this to black, anything you choose. So hit create and we are greeted with this screen. Okay, now the first thing we are going to do is import the image of our background. So I'll click on this group icon right here and name it background. Okay, so let's import our image. File, open, image of our background. Okay, so this is it. Hit open, and once we have it here, I'm going to hold down Control and press A to highlight this entire thing. Control X to cut it out. Control W to close this particular one. So Control V to paste it in here, and I'll grab my move tool. You could press V on the keyboard or click on this icon right here, then resize this to fit my screen or my workspace. Okay, so once we've done that, we could also name this background so we could see what we're doing. I'm going to add just a single exposure over here to make this entire screen a little bit brighter. So you go to your adjustment panel down here, click on exposure. Okay, then we are going to increase it to about maybe just +1. It's okay. Then once we are done, we are going to add gradient overlay. So you click on the adjustment panel, go to gradient, which is right here, and at gradients we are going to change our colors to make sure this is not from color to transparent. So click on this one, the first one, which is what foreground to background. Okay, then we are going to select these colors. So let me see. I like this dark blue. So I will select this one, hit OK. And for the other side, I'll select a more yellowish, probably orange color. I think this is okay. Hit OK. OK one more time. Then I'll change the angle to about 135. Or probably I should be here instead. Okay. So -135 and hit OK. Much better. Then we are going to change the blend mode, obviously. Let's try screen. Oh, too bright. Let's try okay. I'm going to try this several times until I get one I'm satisfied with. Okay, I think color is much better. So I'm going with color, which is right here. You could also double click on this thumbnail to change it. Probably I should change the blue to a much brighter blue. I think this is better. Okay, I like this. Then for the other side, probably I should increase it as well. Okay. Now we are done with the background. So the next thing is the image of probably yourself or the client you're working for, or the musician actually, for this case. So I'll name this image, and I'll create another group and call it person. You can use any name, obviously. So file, open. This is the image you are using, so hit open. And if you want to learn more about how to create a selection from an image or a background, you could click on the cards up here. It's going to be the first in the selection, so you could use that one. Okay, so Control A, Control X, Control W. No, I do not want to save. Then I will paste it in here. Now, with my move tool selected, whilst holding down Shift and Alt, I'm going to click from one of the corners and drag it inwards like so. So let's bring it up. Shift and Control is and Alt is left. So holding down Shift, holding down Alt. Now this is going to resize it whilst keeping the entire ratio in check. Okay, this is much better. So hit OK. And for our image, we are going to add a little exposure as well to make it slightly brighter. So holding down Control, we'll click on this thumbnail. Now you notice what happened. Holding down Control, leaving Control, holding down Control. When we click on it, we have this selection over the image you are using. So adjustment panel, exposure, then we increase the exposure slightly. Maybe okay. So plus 1.50 is okay. Then I'm going to focus more on the face rather than the body, because we don't want the body to be overly exposed. So with my layer mask selected, the layer mask of the exposure, I'm going to grab my brush tool. First of all, you can grab your quick selection tool, which is right here. Then we create a selection. So with the image layer selected, we create a selection. Sorry, don't double click. A selection over that portion. Okay. I think this part is included. The section of the head, this is only for my image. You wouldn't use this if yours is okay. So now with the selection, we are going to click on, sorry about that, the layer marks of the exposure. We grab our brush tool and we are going to make sure that our foreground color is black because the exposure is white right here. Then we will just brush over. So let me increase the brush size and just brush over that portion. So that portion becomes darker whilst the entire or the image of the face remains the same. Okay. Now with this done, let's zoom out and see. So as always, file, save, keep saving your work as many times. So music, just for now I'm going to leave it at music. Hit save. Okay, now the next thing we are going to do is import the image of the money. So file, open. I have it right here, so open, and I'm going to create a selection from these. I don't need a white background, so just a quick selection. You know what, let's deselect. We could just use the magic wand. Okay, now we have a selection. So click on the layer mask right here, and we'll invert the layer mask. So from white with black in it, we change it to black with white in it. So holding down Control, we press I, and this will invert the selection. Now let's apply this layer mask. Okay, I'm going to grab my polygonal lasso tool, but you can use any tool you choose to create a selection around this particular one. So right click, layer via cut. Then, so right now we have just this part. I'll go back to this particular layer. I'll create a selection around this one as well. So right click, layer via cut. So we have these two selections. Now for the third one, probably I'm not going to use it, so let me just delete it out. Now we have these two layers. I'll click on my move tool. You can press V on your keyboard, click and drag it up here. Then I'll drop both of them here. Oh, we are done. We don't need this anymore. I don't want to save. Okay, so for this, we could group them, holding down Control, press G, and call this money. So this is also an image. Let's click and drag it onto images on top of the person. Right now, let's click and drag this probably over to this side. Rotate it any way you want. I'm going to increase mine so that it appears as if it's closer to the screen. Okay, I think this is okay. It's okay. Now for the other side, let me duplicate this. So holding down Control, I'll click, I'll press J rather. So you have a duplicate of this. You could also just click on the image you want to duplicate, click and drag onto the new layer icon, and that's going to duplicate for you. So same thing, same result. Rotate this probably to about, I don't know, 60, an angle of 60. Hit OK. Then increase the size as well. And I'm going to click and drag this maybe over to this portion. Then for the last image, or the last image of the money, probably rotate this. So flip horizontal. You click on any of these corners, or holding down Control, you press T to bring up your transform. So flip horizontal after right clicking. Then rotate this, I don't know, maybe to this side, and hit OK. This will all depend on where you want your images to be. Now the next thing is you know what, let's create great. Probably we should do that in the effects section. Let's import our next image, which is the image of the smoke. So I have mine right here, so hit open, and we just click and drag this over to our workspace. I'll drop it in. It's not all the time that you have to just press, or as always, Control A X. You could also use that. So I will name this smoke, then group it as well. So the group name is also going to be smoke. Click and drag this on top, and I'll resize this slightly and rotate it as well. So bringing up the transform, Control T, right click, flip vertical. And as always, this is dependent on what you are using. I prefer mine to be this way. Okay, so probably I should bring the smoke beneath the money so that the money is much more visible as compared to the smoke. So I'll duplicate this, click and drag onto the new layer. Then I will send this to the other side. So probably this side. Not too big, not too small. So you increase it. Maybe here. Try to cover up the image as possible so that it appears a little bit more real. So for these two smoke layers, I'm going to reduce the opacity to about 50 or 70, whatever you choose. I prefer mine to be at 60. It's okay. So we have this, and again, file, save, keep saving your work. Now the next thing is the parental advisory. So file, open. The image I have here is I don't know how to call it. It's a PNG, it has a transparent background. So you could just click and drag over to this portion. Holding down shift, I'll resize this. So I have it here. Okay, hit okay. Then I'm going to hold down control and press I. So it inverts the color selection. So you could drag this on top, name it as well. Probably just PA for short. Let's resize it one more time. Okay, now we have it here. So let's work on our images now. Again, save. We don't need this, so let me close this one up. Okay. So let's increase the exposure slightly. Probably you should increase it to 2. Let's try 1.5 first. 1.5. Okay, much better. Then we are going to add what I call color balance on this particular image. So holding down control, we'll click on this thumbnail again for the selection of just the image. Go to adjustment panel, click on color balance, then probably change the color to slightly warm. So I'll make this plus 15 and minus 15. Okay. So for the smoke, I'm going to leave it as that. But you could also change the blend mode to screen. It's quite nice if you do it that way. So probably I should do my like that as well. For the money, we want it to appear as if they are moving. So you just click on the first one, which is this. Move to filter. Click on blur. No, not click on blur. Move to blur. Then move to motion blur. Now you could click on it. Now for motion blur, we are going to keep our angle at probably 60, so it appears to be moving this way. Then the distance, let's try 10. Let's try 5. Okay, probably let's use 10 and hit OK. Now I'm going to do the same thing for this one. I mean. So filter, blur, motion blur. But we are going to increase the change the angle, I mean. So probably let's see, let's try 30. It's okay. Now for this one, we want to just use the normal Gaussian blur. So filter, blur, Gaussian blur, 5, 3 is okay. Now let's increase this. Whilst holding down shift, let's increase this. So this is what we have. Control S to save. The next thing is to add like sparks. So another group, call this sparks. Sorry. File, open. I have it here. So for this particular one, I'm not really going to work so much on it. So Control A, Control X, Control W. Paste it in here. Too big, so you resize this accordingly. Okay, then I'll click and drag this to this portion. Now once you're done, you change the blend mode to screen. Okay, so you have this weird looking effects on top. Now as always, you could reduce the opacity if you want to, but I don't want to reduce the opacity. I'm going to keep it as 100. What I'm going to do instead is create a layer mask. Then with my gradient over here, gradient 2, we have our layer mask being white, so our foreground color is going to be black because we are going to be hiding those parts. I'm going to click and drag from this portion over to probably the center or slightly beneath the center. When I release, it's going to create a layer mask over that portion. So you try this several times until you are conversant with what you get. So click and drag. I want to hide all these portions. Okay, now I can bring my brush to, if you want some specific portion you want to take away. I want to take away probably this part, but to correct that, you could even just click this and bring it beneath our image, but we still want some sparks on top of the image itself. So you have the sparks image on top of the image. So with our brush tool, I'll just brush over slightly. Let's bring some part up. Okay, so that's it for our sparks. Let's import our next image. File, open, and our next image is going to be this chained link first. Okay, now for this, let's reduce the size because it's very huge. Control Alt I. So I'm going to change the size to 1280 and hit OK. Much better. So Control A, Control X, Control W. I'll paste it on top. Okay, then group this and call this I don't know, cage. Now because this is not a PNG, we're going to remove all these parts. It's going to be hectic. So you could just bring your magic wand tool, then you click on any portion, you press delete on your keyboard. So as many times as you want this. But you know what, I just want probably this portion. So let's work out over here. I don't want it covering my entire image, so just this part will be okay. Let's add in a few more. Okay, now I'll bring up my polygonal lasso to create a selection over here, just a rough selection. Okay, I don't need this entire part, so I'm taking that part away. So delete on the keyboard, you don't need that part. Okay, so with this cage layer selected, I'll bring my move tool up. So okay, Probably you should delete that part as well. Let me resize this first. So this time around, I'll use my rectangular marquee tool with a selection over here. Then just delete that selection. Okay, so this is what we have. Again, the part we don't need, I'll take it out. Okay, so let's increase the size to maybe here and rotate it slightly. Okay, so any parts you don't want, you could just take out. I'll create a layer mask, bring up my brush tool, then I'm going to take this part out. So the layer mask color is white, so I'll change my foreground color to black, then just brush over these portions. They are too pointy for me, probably here as well. And you could always increase the size. So once you're done, go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, blur this about 3. It's okay. Now let's see if there's any other image we could import. So file, open, yeah, this image, this shaded glass. So I just want to take away this portion. So you could bring up your healing brush, spot healing brush tool, just brush over this particular portion and it's going to take it away. Okay, so Control A, Control X, Control W, then paste it in here. Okay, one more time, let's resize this. So we have this, where should I put it? Probably here. Hit on the check mark, comment check. Change the blend mode to screen. Okay, again, let me save it one more time. So we have broken screen, and I'll probably, no, let's not rotate. Okay, the last thing is the image of the bullet. So file, open, this is the image, open it up. Then we are going to be using this particular image. So with any selection tool at all, you could create that selection. Right click, layer via cut. Okay, so we don't need this anymore. I will delete that one. For this, we have this background image showing. We don't need that, so I'll change this to quick selection tool. I'll create a quick selection over the image. So holding down Alt, I'll deselect this part. Now I'll always tell you that the best tool to use is the pen tool. So you know what, for this tutorial, let's use the pen tool. So click over the selected part you need. So as I'll hold down Alt, bring this anchor point to that side. Here, hold down Alt one more time. Holding down Alt should bring it back. Okay, now click and drag at this side to create a curve. Click and drag at this side to create a curve. Okay, so make selection. Okay, once you are done, just create a layer mask on top of it. So let's apply this layer mask. So Control A, never mind, you just move this over to this portion. Okay, let's close this up. We don't need it anymore. Then group this, call this bullet. So move this over to this portion. Let's zoom in to see what you're doing. So Z on your keyboard to this portion. Think over here should do just fine. Now with the broken screen, again, let's group this. Sorry. So click and drag this beneath the image of the bullet right here. So we have the bullet on top of that. Okay, cool. Now I'll bring my bullets probably at this portion to make this look a little bit more realistic. I'm going to create a layer mask from here. So create a layer mask, then I will duplicate this. So duplicate the screen. I'll put one on top and one underneath. Okay, so for the one on top, we create a layer mask and we are going to bring up our brush tool and brush over that portion. We want to hide the image of the shattered glass, so probably 50 pixel. Then let's hide that part up. If you want to be consistent, or if you want something perfect, you could always hold down Control, you click on the thumbnail to create that selection. So everything you are doing will be within this selection. Oops, I took this part out. I actually needed it. So just this part. Then Control D to deselect. Okay. Once you're done, again, save your work. So let's see what we are getting. This is what we are getting. So to make this, oh, probably we should delete this layer mask. To make this again realistic, go to Filter, Blur, Motion Blur, and this time around we are going to leave the angle at 0 because it's moving horizontally, and the distance we increase it to, oops, I forgot. Let's duplicate this instead before we do that. So Filter, Blur, Motion Blur, angle 0, then increase this to about let's try 30. Okay, the reason why I'm saying we should duplicate this is we want to have some portion of the image being just as it is and some parts also moving. So this is the image of the bullet with no motion effect, and this is the one with the motion effect. So let me name this blurred bullet. Blurred, I can't spell today. Then just main bullet. Okay, so for the main, create a layer mask, then we'll bring up our brush tool again, then we brush over some portion so that it appears it blurs, then comes in. Okay, now you notice we have this blur portion as well. So for our blurred bullet, we create another layer mask, bring up our brush tool right here, then we brush out those portions we do not need. So this is the final product you are getting, a blurred back sliding into a more realistic feel. Okay, I think we are done. I could create a new group, call it text, then you can put your text in there. So grab the type 2, horizontal type 2, change the color to white. Just type in something, I don't know, music. So I could click and drag this. First change the size to about 20. So music cover. Okay. The font I'm using is called Vendana or Vedana. Okay, probably I'll want to change this to a much dirtier font. I actually had one in mind, but I'll drop. Okay, probably let's try this. Not bad, but probably I should just work with this instead. Oh, come on, I had one in mind. Click and drag this over here so that I can see what I'm doing. Sorry. I may have probably deleted it. Well, this is not bad. Gravity. Okay, let's try the gravity. Where is it? Okay. So, I'll leave a link in the description below so you could download this image as well. So for this part, I'm going to leave them. Okay. So, with this highlighted, I'll go to my typography or character options. If you don't have this, you could just go to window, then you click on character. It's going to pop up. So select the whole of this, then increase the distance between each letter. So probably 200. Okay, then reduce the size to about 18. So we have this. I'm not going to go in depth on the text right here, so I'm just going to just add a few drop shadow, increase the opacity to about 50, the size, and angle. So the angle 135, probably add bevel and emboss, but reduce the opacity to 15. Inner shadow. Anyway, you could use anything you want. I think I'm just cool with this. So hit OK, and once you're done, you save your work up. So basically that's it. I think we are done. One more thing, let's add a shadow of the image. So the image of the person right here, I don't know who he is. So hold down Control, you press this, go to the adjustment panel, hue and saturation, then reduce the lightness to -100. So we have this. Then I'll click and drag this hue and saturation beneath the image. So with my move tool selected, I'm going to hold down Control and move this slightly. First of all, I'm going to have my brightness coming from this side, or my light coming from this side. Okay, because we have light over here, then this part is darkening up. So the shadow should be on this portion. So you can move this slightly to this portion. Holding down Control, you can drag and adjust this accordingly. Okay, I think it's much better. Then the next thing is blur this out. So probably blur it by 30. Let's try 20. Okay, then reduce the opacity of the shadow to about 50. So right now we have this shadow looking like effects over here, and we are done. So let's add our last group, which is effects. Okay, so the first thing is our curves, obviously. Not too much, depending on what you want to use. Our next thing is gradient. I'll change mine to black. So create a new layer, change the color to black on top. So gradient to get this vignette looking like effect. So for the first one, we are going to just move it over here. It's okay. The second one, we're going to change it to radial, increase the scale to 100, then reverse it. So we have it like so. Then for both of these, I'm going to reduce the size to about 50. Yeah. Okay. For the curves, probably you should reduce that one as well. And you could add a few color balance, make it slightly blue and leave this at 0, or you can make it warmer depending on what you're using it for. So I'll change mine to 15, -15. So we are done. Thank you guys for watching. If you have any question, you could drop it in the comment section. Give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and you could also subscribe to our channel because we have awesome ideas and we'll be uploading them from time to time. I wouldn't want you to miss any of them, so subscribe to the channel and be sure to share because sharing is caring. Okay, so thank you guys, and I'll see you in the next one.